My name's Andrea Agnette.
And we are the creators of the Millennial Space.
Our dream is to see Evansville lit, and that is living innovation together. And we see a real need in the community for Evansville to grow as a space. So there have been a lot of developments lately, which have been fantastic. Thinking about Haney's Corner, Franklin Street, the Riverfront development, all of those developments down there. And we really see a need for a design space simply for innovation and collaboration. And one of the big things in Evansville lately is the brain drain. And there are about over 12,000 college students between UE and USI, and we want to keep them here. We see a real need for a designated space simply for innovation and creativity for people to come together. We want to see Evansville built up. We want to expand the small businesses, celebrate the arts, and have Evansville be a real place for millennials to stay and to grow as a city.
First, we need to answer who millennials are. A lot of people don't know, surprisingly enough. It's a generation that has grown with technology through social media that is shaping American culture now. And I wish I got the picture in here, but I forgot it. But if you Google American culture, you get a Statue of Liberty, and you get a flag, and then you get burgers, fries, football, a taco, other such things. It's very disappointing to see that as the first row of pictures nearly on Google. I was sad. But millennials are shaping a new kind of culture, as said in our previous presentation, that is engaged with technology. Constantly, you see marketing done through technology. You see, non-for-profits pushing to publicize themselves through technology, and just people in general being able to communicate over technology. No one is more engaged with technology than this generation. And in the future, in 2020, 50% of the workforce will be made of this generation that is so engaged with technology, and by 2030, it'll be 75%. That means that we need to invest quite a bit in the people that we have now, moving forward in their education and moving forward in the workforce. And by definition, a millennial would be anyone born in 1980 to 2000. So you have a large age range, but it's time to target those kind of people now, because those are the people that will be building our cities or heading these new projects that will change our country for the better, hopefully. Next time I Google culture, I don't want to see a burger on there. There are 80 million in the U.S. right now, so just to emphasize how many, based on numbers, millennials that there are, it's no small feat to engage them in building a future. Our solution to retaining millennials is a fairly simple one. We had a different idea originally, and we had pursued that through quite a few meetings before we had shared a common interest in this. And we kind of agreed, we were like, hey, you've heard about that too. I think that's an issue also, because as said earlier in our presentation, we have so many people just, I don't want to stay in Evansville, or there's nothing to do here, or it's not going in the directions. But I have seen the plans that they have for Evansville, for the downtown, the direction that it's going through Leadership Evansville and other such organizations, and it's going to be so different. And I want to tell people about that, and Andrea here is just as passionate. So our solution is a simple answer. It's just a space. It's a space for millennials, something that will attract them, something that will give them something to do, something that will bring them together, young families, millennials, and engage them in each other, engage them in the community, engage them in activities held as a venue or a live music venue But our answer to that issue of millennial retention is this simply just a space. These are pictures of something called the Lawn on D in Boston. It's the only place that has anything like it. It has these glowing chairs, as you saw in this photo. They're swings, and they're just seats, and that is almost what divides this space entirely. But it is very populated constantly. There is lots of rental of this venue. There's lots of performances. There's lots of activities that take place in this venue, and all they did was put out glowing chairs that swing. And like I said, there's constantly traffic. And there are other innovative ideas around the country that could bring attention like this to Evansville. And then whenever someone asks, hey, what do you want to do tonight? These millennials would answer with, hey, let's go down to the space, or let's go down to the Lawn on D, or whatever, the Lawn on E for Evansville, depending on what you want to call it. So the question is how?
Exactly. How do we plan to accomplish this millennial space? Obviously, there would be costs associated with this. We've looked at several different locations. As I mentioned, Franklin Street is up and coming, as well as the riverfront, and definitely Hades Pointer as well. All the festivals, this would be a perfect venue to show them off. So judging by local property prices and things, we've estimated $25,000 for land acquisition and construction. And for structuring or seating, as you saw in the swings, we're pricing that between $1,200 and $7,800. Combined with the other costs, which have been based off of local park figures and such, you're looking at about, $150,000 a max for this new park space to keep millennials in Evansville. However, speaking from a sustainability perspective, people would want to be here. You're going to have major events here. People can rent it out for, say, $500 an hour. It's nothing compared to the $17,000 that the Boston venue uses. Also, it could be a major promotion of local businesses as well. Art vendors could come and sell their products, as well as have local food places like the First House. Any of the Franklin Street locations could rent it, and it could be a space where they could get their name out there into the community and people could gather. This is very doable, and there are several established grants for such things, as well as local technical assistance programs.
The big thing that brings people together is not only to find space, but as we said, burgers. It's in our culture. We need it, food. Vendors could use this, vendor rental space much like they do the Fall Festival or things like that. I don't think they have a rental space for the Fall Festival, I'm not sure. But they could use this space to switch out the foods constantly for people who are there. So keep the food diverse, but people will come not only for this, unique attraction, but they would come for the food, they would come for the socialization. So it's just such a large part of it. Unfortunately, with this budget, like Andrew said, it's very ballparked and benchmarked because parks can range in size, range in, location. One spot might be more expensive than the other. The kind of equipment you can use, there's tons and tons of options. So this is, as I said, very ballparked budget, but you get the general idea. We looked at multiple spots for this. We took a night and we walked up and down West Franklin Street, the area where the Fall Fest is held, and we saw a number of spaces. Probably the space right here even to start it off with, but we saw some spaces in between buildings. Seating at that Fall Fest, I've been almost every year for a really long time because I'm from here and I always want a chair and they're always gone. And it's very sad when you want to eat and you have to walk and eat. But I love the Fall Fest. It's like my favorite event. So we considered spots down there to put these attractions. Not only would it attract people to the Fall Fest, but it would also give them a place to sit and come back whenever the Fall Fest was no longer there. Because that street is a beautiful place to be and a great place for millennials to gather even outside of the Fall Fest season. So these are just a few of the things that you can put in this space, and they range from $50 to $300 per unit, depending on what you wanted to fill the space with, or maybe one of each. It's diversity and uniqueness that draws in the millennials. This is one of a few of them. They're like a log kind of seat, and they're not expensive at all. I think they're $70 or $90 each in that range, and they light up. A big thing that attracts us are lights, shiny things. Ooh, shiny. So we stop and look at it. Another thing are these seats right here, and these are one of my personal favorites. You can change colors, you can set them to, you guys have seen those mood lightings that, fade out of blue and turn to red, and fade out of orange and turn to pink. They're just something that really will catch your eye, driving by this spot, walking by the spot, and it'll say open to the public, and they'll just go right in. I would go somewhere just to sit in this chair for a few minutes, and then if I needed to leave, that's fine. But just something that would really attract them, these would do it. And like we said, it's a very simple answer, just creative kind of designs that would come with this space. These cubes can serve as tables or seats. They use them in nightclubs in some places. Very cheap, perfect solution. It'll light up your entire floor. These obviously are this is a closer picture of the swing sets that is in Boston on the lawn on D. And like we said, constant traffic. Here at dusk, it's a little less traffic oriented, but at nighttime, it's a booming place, and that's what people want to do at nighttime whenever they get off work or they get out of school. It's time to make plans for the evening. I want to go to an event at somewhere like this instead of go out to eat every single night of the week. I don't want to tell you how often I go out to eat to do something.
As Hannah mentioned, the goal for this space is for it to be a hub of Evansville, to drive innovation with the arts as well as entrepreneurship. So we were thinking to have some other structures as well. To incorporate our original solar theme, you could have solar tables where people could power their phones, use their Wi-Fi, as well as have spaces to sit and interact. Also, we are also interested in furthering the arts and local businesses. So ideally, we would have a pavilion, as pictured at the bottom, and which could be a real venue as opposed to just a park space. Bands could come, artists could come, different events could happen there, just to celebrate the people and culture of Evansville.
This right here is just an example. Do I have a laser pointer? I do. This right here is an example of something, an ideal kind of image that we have for this. This could be made as replacement maybe for a pavilion if made, whether it be for bands to play on, or just unique shapes. That's what really draws people in. So in conclusion, Evansville needs millennials. They're the future, they're going to build these cities, and it's not hard to attract them places. It's really not. Although it is a detrimental need to attract them places for a city's growth and success. Thank you.
A couple quick questions. One, have you considered the area of Roberts Park, former Roberts Stadium? And secondly, have you chatted with either the Director of Parks and Recreation for the City of Evansville or the Director of the Downtown Alliance?
We did, I don't know if she did actually, but I was discussing this project with another person, and I was on a GAP program called Greenway with Link, and we were looking at open spaces around the area. We did consider Roberts Park in that discussion with another party, but like I said, our time was a little limited on speaking with people and getting responses back by the time we had decided to switch projects. So we went ahead and researched most of the things, but engaging with professionals that would know a little bit more about places and ways to get this into action is something we're definitely interested in.
So as a millennial, I understand that there is a large gap from your 1980s side down to your 2000s side. So the needs and wants of somebody on the 1980s side, maybe with a family and small children, may be very different than the needs and wants of somebody on the 2000s side. So how do you plan on accounting for all millennials and all the varying needs and wants of a social space?
Something that brings both children, people with parents with children, I'm saying, millennials, the older ones you're referring to, their 30s, young 20, or not young 20s? Higher 20s, that's what I'm looking for. Sorry. People with children, the children are attracted to this kind of scene, while, the teenage age, the 20 age, they're also attracted to this kind of scene. Hopefully that will bring them together. But if anything, food brings everyone together. So there will be food. Cotton candy for the kids and nice, foot-long hot dogs for the teenagers like us.
Also, that's the beauty of having such an adaptable space. You can bring in one setting by day, another by night. You can have games for the kids, for the whole family. I mean, anyone can swing. However, at night, you can bring it out to private venues for artists that maybe the kids wouldn't be quite so into. You can have it for private events. It can really be a space for not only the children, but all the way up to millennials and as they age as well.
Also with the Boston example that we benchmarked most of our work from, not as much as the expenses, because we wouldn't, those chairs, or those swings they had were solar powered, and that would be very expensive. But it's a look, you could charge these with electricity. But something they had constantly was cornhole all day, or other games like that, frisbees available, things to draw in children, and other people involved in games. Most teenagers were playing them, which was the surprising part, because they were geared for younger children. But there's a lot of things that you could put in the environment, depending on what kind of millennial you were trying to bring in for that day of the week, and change it accordingly.
Why did you call it solar innovations rather than space for millennials and families?
Originally, our idea was a little bit more solar oriented, and by the time we had submitted our titles, we couldn't necessarily change them because they had printed them all out. But that didn't really want to stop us from pursuing what we wanted. So we threw in a little, even though this is a great idea, I love it. It's very similar to community tree if you were over here for that. But it provides shade. It's got flat solar panels on the top and it's got a bench on the bottom. It doesn't have the Wi-Fi or internet, and it's not quite as artistic, but it's quite an interesting build-up. And as we said, you could power the chairs with solar, and that would be more clean energy as you advance, with expansion.
I think your idea is great. A suggestion on who to talk to about this? All of your economic development in cities and counties, this is a draw for those people, and to keep the people, I think it's a great idea. If they could help fund this for you.
That would be wonderful. If you would get with me afterwards, maybe for that day. I don't give up.
I would be a little concerned about vandalism, theft. How do they deal with that? That's one
I'm
question.
really glad you asked.
Yeah.
A lot of these chairs are actually coated with a very spray paint resistant coating, very weatherproof, because people have had issues with that and they brought it up over and over and over again. These furniture companies are like, I'm so tired of getting my things painted and vandalized and destroyed. Very durable and very, very spray paint resistant, and pretty much anything after that, is only a $50 cost, plus any kind of surveillance would prevent such a family environment. People would have an issue with someone trying to beat up some kind of property of the city or whatever. They love that place, so hopefully that would,
Think of it as a very functional park. You go to parks, yeah, there is a fear of vandalism in that, but this is going to be in an extremely public space. The concentration of people is part of the safety feature. If we have it on Franklin Street, good grief, go on a weekend, there are cops there all the time. Security is definitely a factor, but one that's manageable with the city's park service and just how it would naturally integrate.
And overall, I have a lot of confidence in Evansville's people, especially in those public kind of areas. I grew up around here. This is my home, and I've received a lot of kindness from people in this area, the Newburgh area where I grew up. And I would hope that they would stand up for this, because they're just kind of people that I've gotten to know since I've been living here. So.
Do you know if Boston provides programming for that space? In other words, is it just build it and they will come, or do they have sort of a full-time person who drives events and makes things happen there instead of just allowing them, to spring up?
The Law and D in Boston is actually ran through the Boston Convention Center. Myself and a few other UD students actually discovered it on a UD trip to Boston. And so the Convention Center does handle the planning of that. However, our thought was that it could be part of the local library function, or maybe a student group out of UD. We could find an entity that would be mutually beneficial, as well as the online. I know the Law and D in Boston uses an online system, to where yes, they do have someone whose job is to actually manage it. However, the sign-up system is really not much more than a managed Google Doc. It's not extremely time-intensive.
All right, I have to cut it off. Okay, Mission Guatemala?
Oh, yeah.
We can't be bribed.
Can you guys hear me all right? All right, great. All right, so hi guys, my name is Jalen, and I'm currently a senior health service administration and public health major at UE.
My name is Amanda Strafer, and I am a junior at the University of Evansville, and I am a art therapy major.
My name is Micah Good, and I'm a senior, and I'm an education and pre-art therapy major as well.
So before we wanted to talk about Mission Guatemala, we kind of just wanted to get to know you guys, or you guys get to know us a little bit more, so this is less of a presentation and more just a friend-to-friend chat. So a little bit about me. We can't go through all of us, so I was the designated guy. But I am a first-generation Chinese male, so my parents were both from Hong Kong. They got married here and had me. And the thing that they used to ask me a lot as a kid was, hey Jalen, what do you want to be when you grow up? And I had two things in mind as a kid, a 5-year-old. I said, one, I want to be a superhero, and two, I want to be a marshmallow. Just because they were really fun and gooey. But, you know, I kind of just stuck to the superhero because the marshmallow is kind of weird. But Mission Guatemala has actually given me the opportunity to fulfill my childhood dream, as you'll see in a little bit. So before we begin, you guys have heard this term before, probably from your program and maybe even in the Evansville area, but Mission Guatemala is something that is not new. So we wanted to kind of bring to you guys the who, what, where, when, how, and why we chose this project. But as we were going on, we decided to post some of our finished product. But in order to get there, we wanted to show you the process on how to do that. And as we were doing this, we decided we might as well make this a lesson on Spanish. Do you guys know Spanish at all? It's alright, me neither. So we'll learn this together. So the first word that we learned was donde. And donde actually means where, which directly translates to where is Guatemala. If you look, Guatemala is not in South America, but it's in Central America, right under Mexico. And specifically, we're going to be working with this star right here in San Andres, which is a the volcanic highlands of Guatemala. Whoa. All right, great. So the next word we learned was como, which means how. So we decided to tell you guys how this program actually started. So, if you look at this man right here, his name is Tom Heaton, and he's actually a graduate from the University of Evansville. After graduating, he ended up becoming a reverend and pastor for the United Methodist Church and currently works in the Newburgh Methodist Church. As he grew into the Methodist Church, he decided to go on missions trips to Guatemala and grew a heart for them. If you look over here to his left, and your right, you'll see the young man who is actually from Guatemala. This is his son. He became so involved with Guatemala, and not only did he start Mission Guatemala, he ended up adopting 2 sons from there. As he began to finish his program and make it more formalized, his staff and him developed a mission statement that you can see here. And their whole goal was to improve the quality of life to underserved and impoverished Guatemalan peoples, specifically those who were indigenous to Guatemala. A lot of people don't know that Guatemala and the indigenous people are actually 2 different populations. The Mayan people were pushed out of the way by the Guatemalans into the highlands of the volcanic areas and just told, good luck, survive. So this is our target population today. The next word we wanted to bring to you guys is quien. I might be saying it wrong, I'm sorry. But from what I've learned, it's quien, which means who. So these are all the constituents that are part of this project. First, it starts with us. students at the University of Evansville. So us three, as a team, have decided to say yes, we want to be involved in this project, and we want to help the United Methodist Church that actually backs this project, not just the local United Methodist Church, but the entire United Methodist Church of the world. They've decided to back the Guatemalan project. So we will be working with them in order to go to Mission Guatemala and do some work with the indigenous Mayan people. Currently, there are 5 different cores within this project, and you can see them here. They include the medical clinic, the dental clinic, as well as the preschool nutrition center, the feeding centers, and community aid. And you can learn more about that on their website. But today, we wanted to bring to you the 6th core. So going back to the slide here, you can see that the Mission Guatemala is already a thing, and it's already established. So you might be wondering, how is this socially innovative? And we wanted to tell you today that we are not participating with Mission Guatemala, but we are partnering with Guatemala today. Going over these 5 cores, the thing that's missing is the concept of sustainability. So now my partners will explain a little bit more about that.
Our program will use recycled materials from Mission Guatemala to make cards that can be sold to the mission teams that will be volunteering there. The profits that are made through the program will be invested into the community. They can help the locals obtain the necessary resources needed for everyday life. The cards that we gave you at the beginning of the program are an example of the product that we made by the women and children in Guatemala. Not only can this program help the community become more self-sustainable, but it can also be used as a recruiting technique. It can be sent to churches and organizations across the nation as a way to raise awareness for Mission Guatemala, as well as expand financial backing and volunteer assistance.
I'm shorter, so I apologize. Okay. So a big part of this too is the funding. $500 is the initial startup fee cost for this, and it is a one-time fee because the resources that this is establishing are reusable and sustainable, such as plastic tubs and paper-making materials. Mission Guatemala, one of the funding sources aside from the GAP program, and private donors will be recycling shredded papers in order to back our project. The reason why this craft was chosen is because of the sustainability with this, so that way we are making an ecological impact on the community by recycling the amount of paper they have building up in their community. The cost is 32 cents per card, and they will be sold $3 a piece, or $2 for $5. This is done so with the goal in mind of creating educational opportunities to raise a better awareness and a better way of living in their community.
So one of our last words is cuando, which means when. So currently, there are 10 members of the UE community, as well as the Evansville community, who will be going this spring break in order to help this project. This year, we'll be implementing this project for the first time, and then next year we hope for a follow-up. But that doesn't just end where we start. The Guatemalan team actually opens up their entire calendar to people who are part of the community and also Methodists and other organizations around the world. As you can see right here, this group is actually from Tennessee, and they've been working with them for a few years. The last word that we wanted to bring to you guys is por qué. And you might have heard this before, and it means why. So, taken directly from the university website, we decided to figure out exactly what our mission was and why we were doing this. So if you look, the University of Evansville Mission of Learning states this in part of their script. It says, the university values learning as a means of attaining freedom from ignorance and prejudice. So today, a lot of Americans have ignorance, not necessarily because they want to, but just because they don't know. So this experience provides a great opportunity for UE students and the Evansville community to eliminate that ignorance of what's going on abroad and to help other people. The second part is actually the vision statement, which states, to be an innovative institution of global reach and reputation, whose students develop the knowledge and skills, vision and wisdom to lead and to serve. So, we've been working on this project for a few months, and some of the things that we've had to learn are communication skills, are leadership skills. So all the things that we've learned and developed through this program fit perfectly within the mission and the vision statement. But the last thing I wanted to talk to you guys about is not necessarily why we're doing it because of the school, but why are we doing it because of us? So we talked a lot about Spanish, and now we're going to go to Portuguese. There's a word in Portuguese, and it's called saudade. And a lot of people don't know this word just because it's never been translated to authenticity. It's one of the words that can't be translated correctly just because there are no other matching words. So in Portuguese, saudade means when your heart breaks for something that you can't just have at that moment. So a lot of people think saudade for lost loved ones or people who, when they have long distance relationships. But my team and I, we feel saudade for this team in Guatemala and all the indigenous people. All these people are being pushed away from their hometowns, just like those students in Syria and those people that Kendra had mentioned earlier. We feel saudade for them, and that's why we're working with Mission Guatemala today. So thank you for your time, and we'd like to open up the floor for any questions.
Well, one comment is that your extensive language in Spanish was 2 points. Was perfect.
Thank you, thank you.
I would
Great presentation.
I would just point out that Tom Eaton was my classmate here. So,
Wow.
yeah, that was his son Manuel.
Wow, great.
I would just offer, because Todd remains a close personal friend, I'm sure he is grateful for your.
Thank you.
I do have one question. And I don't know if you said a lot of things, but for one thing, how is that revenue going to be used back to the project exactly? You mentioned that.
It will be made by the people, and it would be reinvested into it to support their everyday lives.
But in any specifics, or will you let them choose, or will you direct them to?
Yes, they can choose on how it needs to be spent and how it will benefit them.
One of the biggest challenge, I understand the broader concept, the product that's going to be produced. What you didn't talk a lot about is the actual mechanics of working with the folks, the indigenous people, to produce the product.
Right.
What do you either know to be or anticipate to be the biggest challenges in producing the final product?
Right. So you guys might not know this about us, but we have not ever been to Guatemala, so this will be the first time for all three of us. And we foresee the hardest part of our project is the buy-in, and not just the buy-in of the Guatemalan people, but also the buy-in of people coming in. So President Kazi, answering your question, we foresee the buy-in of the people making these cards being the hardest part. And I can't remember if we mentioned this, but our target population will be children. So children will be making these on their own time. We're not making them, I promise. It's a free will thing where they will be able to do this in schools, and the high school students will be able to learn how to make this and teach other people who are younger than them as well.
How will these, I assume the cards are made